Happy Monday, everyone out there in social media land. If you are tuned in, then you know that today is a fantastic Monday. It is Monday, February 5th, and we are now on episode 109 of the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz podcast. Of course, you know that I am your host, Jasmar Jazz Bennett, mother, educational leader, event host, podcast host, and so much more. Listen, I want you, when you tune in, you have to tell me where you are tuning in from. And then I want to know how your Monday is started. Because if you get your Monday started off right, then you know that it's going to be a great week. It's just a simple time to reset. It's a time to set new goals and crush them. All right. Listen, the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz podcast is a podcast that is dedicated to spotlighting the power of the comeback story. All of my viewers and all of my listeners abroad, nationwide, globally, get an opportunity to hear from my special guests. The one thing that my special guests have in common is a comeback story. And so I truly and firmly believe that we can come back from anything with God, the right resources, knowing how to use those resources effectively, and the willingness to do the work. So all three of those things are my formula for making a comeback. And since we are on 109, episode 109, you can always go back and catch the replay on IG, on Facebook, on YouTube, and you can make sure that you are following me and subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. So listen, before we get started with this episode and I bring on my special guest, I'm waving to you guys. Thank you so much for being here tonight because this is going to be fantastic. All right. I want to start off by giving major conglomerate, like colossal, gargantuan congratulations to Zania Zhao and also to Simone Alexander. Listen, Simone Alexander Wilson and also Z, big Z, not the little Z. You guys did your big one. Like they had a melanin festival, right? So they had the black market. This was a brain child that started. You know how you start with those ideas, but the difference between movers and shakers is that those people who just think of the idea and never get it started, you're just thinkers, right? But the doers are the people who have this idea, they map it out, they plan it, and they see it to fruition. And so I'm so proud of these two ladies. The Black Market, a melanin cultural festival, occurred this past Sunday. And you know how you have those events that you have on your calendar, but then you figure out, oh my, I cannot make it. Unfortunately, this was one of those events that I simply could not make it to. But leading up to the event, I gave encouraging words because I was getting so excited for this festival. The weather was perfect. Everyone in the community came together and you supported these two bright young ladies. And I am so elated that it was an amazing event. So you definitely, because I hear that there's talks that they're going to do it more than once a year. So you definitely, if you are a vendor and you want to get your business out there, this is a great opportunity for you. So I just wanted to start with saying congratulations to those two ladies because they did their big one this past Sunday. Speaking of events that you don't want to miss, that you want to put on your calendar, follow me, okay? Follow me for a second. I am going to be hosting a magnificent event this Saturday, and you want to make sure that you are in the building. If you are a woman who aspires to be an entrepreneur, if you are a woman who's already in business and you are serious about your business, you definitely want to attend the Galentine's brunch. Okay, the Galentine's brunch is definitely a networking extravaganza. We are going to be dressed in our favorite shades of pink, ladies. We are going to enjoy food. We are going to enjoy vendors. That's right, I did say vendors. We are going to enjoy networking because if you are a businesswoman, you know the importance of networking. Now, this Galentine's Day brunch is for us. So I need you to get all of your boss friends. I need for you to get all of your friends that you are encouraging to be bosses, and y'all need to be in the building. It is going down this Saturday, February 10th from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. And it's going to occur at the venue in Lakeland. Listen, this venue space is amazing. And so if you've never been, I need for you to get your tickets now, not now, but right now, immediately after this podcast episode. You can purchase your tickets on eventb.com. The location is 630 North Ingram in Lakeland, Florida. That's 630 North Ingram in Lakeland, Florida. Get your paint together. Get your business cards together. Get your crew together. And even if you have to come solo, I want to see you. Again, I'm going to be hosting it, but that's not it. That's not it. Guess what? As a special guest, we have Nicole Bradham, who's the owner of Hot Mod. Listen, you don't know what Hot Mod is? I'm pretty sure that you do, but in case you don't, it is an influencer marketing agency. She's going to be joining us for brunch, and she's going to give us tips about marketing and working with other local influencers, and she's going to tell you all about growing your business. So you want to make sure that your face is in the place this Saturday from 11 to 1 p.m. So get your tickets today. Get your tickets today because I am hosting it. All right. So listen, without further ado, I'm going to bring on my special guest for episode 109. I see that Boss Fest has checked in. I see that A Step Above 21 has checked in. Thank you so much. Let me know where you are watching from, where you are listening from, because this episode is going to be like none other, because I have such an amazing man. He's a man now, y'all. I can't believe it. Like, you know how you just watch someone grow? This man has grown into his own, and he's moving and he's shaking. He's very ambitious. And I'm not talking about anyone other than Mr. MJ Wright. Mr. MJ Wright is my special guest for episode 109. I'm going to give you a little bit about him. Listen, he is such a dynamic individual, and he has a robust career in education and also community service, community engagement, and also in resource development. Now, he right now has a leadership position, which I wouldn't even think that he wouldn't, because I've always seen him carry himself in this way. He currently serves as a resource development manager at United Way of Central Florida, but he is also running for the Polk County Public School Board. He is running for a seat on that school board for District 2, and I'm going to let him tell you all about it. So I'm going to bring Mr. MJ Wright. District 2 is gargantuan, okay? District 2 is huge. So those of you who are in the Polk County Public School System, you have kids who are in the Polk County Public School System, you definitely want to pay attention, because I'm just going to give you a list of the schools, because MJ, I'm just like, okay. In District 2, we have Alta Vista Elementary, you have Bellasita, Bethune Academy, Boone Middle, Citrus Ridge, a Civics Academy, Daniel Jenkins Academy, Davenport Elementary, Davenport High School, Davenport School of the Arts, Don Wood Center, Dundee Elementary Academy, Dundee Ridge Middle Academy, Eastside Elementary. We have Haines City Senior. I know y'all out there, y'all some Hornets out there. Horizons Elementary. We have the International Baccalaureate East, Lake Marion Creek Middle School, Laurel Elementary, Lothman Oaks Elementary, Palmetto Elementary, Ridge Community Senior, and last but not least, Sand Hill Elementary. You listen, I know you are ready to work. Just to name a few. Just in District 2 of the district. MJ, how are you tonight?
Listen, I am great. I'm so honored to be on the show tonight. I know you have a robust amount of people who come on, and so I'm honored that you let me come on your platform tonight. So I'm just happy to be here.
Listen, I am happy to have you on. It is just like a full circle moment for me, because I've seen you. You know that I've seen you. Know how people can say I've seen you since you've been this high.
Since I was little.
She was little. But it is the truth. And what is also the truth is that it has been such a pleasure to see you grow and morph into the young man that you are right now. Like, I've always seen you be very respectful. I've always seen you take the path of making smart choices, of it's like you were ahead of your time. Like a 10-year-old, 21-year-old, if that makes sense. Like, you've just always been that person that was just goal oriented. And so I'm gonna just start the podcast off with letting you introduce yourself, because your resume speaks for itself. It is amazing. But introduce yourself to the audience.
Well, like she says, I'm Marcus Wright, better known as MJ Wright. That's what everybody kind of knows me as. I am a resource development manager at United Way of Central Florida, born and raised right here in Polk County, Florida. Proud to be born and raised in Polk County, Florida. I can tell you I sit on various amount of boards. I'm the president of the Public Education Partnership of Winter Haven, vice chair of the Cypress Junction Montessori School Board, and just to name a few. But I think most people will actually know me, and if they tell you that they know me, they'll know me as a community advocate. I love to advocate and serve my community. The community that gave so much to us, the community is only as good as you make
Right.
it. And so some of us have to jump in the fight and make sure that this community is a great community for all to live, work, and play. That being Polk County as a whole, whether you're from Lakeland, whether you're from Haines City, whether you're from Bartow, whether you're from Winter Haven, making sure that Polk County is a place that everyone can live, work, and play, and that they're educated to do so coming out of this community. And so that's a little bit about me. I was born and raised here in Polk County. I'm a church boy, as most people say. So if you do know me, some of you may know me from the church realm. I was born and raised Baptist, still Baptist, gonna be Baptist until the day I die, God willing. And so currently serves as a youth pastor, and did some other things, and been armor bearers. And so just kind of working to make sure that, I'm well rounded, and being as diverse as I can to make sure that the kids get what they need. And you can't know what the kids need unless you're out there finding out what's going on right now.
You're absolutely, absolutely 100% correct with that. I know you spoke about education and how important it is. Now, you matriculated from Summerlin Academy. Talk to me about that experience, and did it add some of the structural basis that you kind of run your life by now? How important was going to Summerlin for you?
So I'll tell you, it gave me all the structural basis that I had. I'll, to be honest, I did not want to go to Summerlin at first, and I used to tell the story when I was there. My mom told me I was going to Summerlin. I kind of came on board with the idea after I found out they had a horse equestrian class. So
Okay.
it's like, I can ride horses in class. I can go along with this. This can actually work. So made the best of it. I actually met an instructor there who's still there. His name is First Sergeant Jackson. And because I was kind of like a rebel when I first got there, like, I don't really want to be
Yeah.
here. But First Sergeant taught me one thing, and I still apply that to my life today. And he said, you learn the rules, you master the rules, then you forget the rules. And I didn't know what it meant, and he explained it to me, and I still didn't know what it meant, excuse me, until I got grown. And so what he was basically telling me is, you learn the rules so that you know how to follow them.
Yes.
Then once you learn the rules, you can master the rules. And once you've mastered the rules, you don't really have to worry about them anymore, because they just come naturally to you. And then the last one is forget the rules. You can then forget the rules because you're now the rule maker. And
Oh
so I've
my
lived
God.
by that philosophy all throughout college, all throughout all the different boards I serve on. Learn the rules, master the rules, forget the rules. And you can't do them in any other order. You have to do it in that order. You got to learn the rules, you got to master the rules, and then you can then be the rule maker, and you can forget the rules because you are the rule maker. And so I kind of loved my experience there. I went on to, put my foot forward and do all that I can do, and became the
Yeah.
lead student over all of Summerlin. So I was the first African American male to be the regimental commander, the highest ranking JROTC student in all of Polk County. So that led me to some great opportunities. And I can honestly say having that position is what led me to my internship in college, and then my job outside of college with the education system. So if it was not for my matriculation at Summerlin, I wouldn't be who I am today.
That's perfect. And I love it. Those three things, I'm gonna have to embed that in my mind because I can see where you can apply that to a lot of
Right.
situations. Let me tell you something, MJ. Here's what really impressed me about you. And you gotta give me the tidbit, you gotta give me the
Okay.
insight on how
I'm
this
ready.
came. All right. So here I am. I'm an educational leader in the district, as a school administrator, and we get a new superintendent. And everybody wants to meet her at a particular time. And then it's like all of a sudden, I'm like, why is MJ walking with the superintendent right now? Like, what is going on? Like, MJ is at this meeting, like everywhere you saw the superintendent at that time, you saw you. And I always wanted to ask you, how did that come about?
Okay, so I'll explain the story and truth, all honesty, I am still that close with her today. Like I was literally on the phone with her just earlier today. So all honesty, it's still there. So believe it or not, when I was at Summerlin, Miss Jackie Bird, who you're referring to,
Yes.
she started what was called a lunch and learn. And so what
Okay.
it was is she knew that she couldn't be the best superintendent without knowing what the students needed. And so she would
So
bring in two
smart.
students from
Yeah.
every single high school in the county. And she
Okay.
would go around. And so if you were like in the Haines City, the District 2 area, basically, she would come to District 2 and meet with you all at one school. And she would provide lunch and just find out what are you liking, what are you not liking. So my particular group, which we met at her office because I went to Summerlin, it was like a 5-minute drive right
Yeah.
around the corner. So it was Summerlin Academy, Bartow High School, Fort Meade Senior, Mulberry Senior, and there was one of Gauze Academy. So all five schools sent two representatives to the superintendent's office. She provided lunch. And so basically, we all started meeting. We were having this lunch and learn. We were talking about all the things that are going right. But the main thing that came up that we felt was the most important thing for her to change was that we did not have octagon pizza anymore. That was like the main problem that we seen. Not about nothing with teachers, nothing with administration, but that pizza was gone during lunch, and we needed that pizza back. So we're like, do what you got to do, but we need the pizza back. And so we were getting ready to leave, and she was like, okay, we're going to work on all of these. And so I can't remember if it was me or if it was somebody else, but somebody raised their hand and was like, okay, so how are we going to follow up on this?
Right.
What's the follow up? And I remember raising my hand at that point. I was like, I think we need another meeting. So if it don't get done, I mean, she say she gonna do it. Let's call her out on it if it's not gonna
Right.
get done. So that was supposed to be a one-time meeting. It led to a every month meeting. We met every single month with her, and then we had to change up the lunch schedule because she was providing sandwiches and chips and stuff like that. And so at that time, it was a wing restaurant called Brenda's Wings and Things.
Listen.
And so yeah, we made
Listen.
us yeah we made us start
Yes.
bringing in the Brenda's Wings and things. So we like, if we gonna come here and meet with you, you got to at least make it worthwhile leaving that school lunch
Right.
to come get some Brenda's Wings and things. So it kind of turned into that. We went on all the way throughout our senior year of doing that. And then I was already an intern with the workforce education department, but it was like on a little small level, just filing papers and stuff like that. I had started that and doing certain events. So it turns out we became ambassadors for the school district. So when they had certain teacher of the year banquets and stuff like that, they would have us come in because she wanted to see more students at the events. So she's like, I got the perfect trial group. I got the perfect pilot group. Bringing these kids in, they'll know what to do. And so we kind of just took turns all alternating on what events we did. She ended up showing up to all of our graduations. Some kind of way she made sure she was at every single one of our graduations on the stage to be the first person that shakes our hand after we got our diploma. She gave us all this swag. She gave us stuff to leave. She gave us, and then she also gave us all basically a college basket. So she found out what we were all doing after high school. So like I was going to college, so she got me this big college basket. It had everything you could think of. It had game detergent, it had everything. Everything that you needed for college was in that basket. So I came back because I'm ambitious. If I want it, I'm gonna go after it. And so I
Yes.
ended up seeing Mr. Mark Hutek, who was associate superintendent over workforce education at that time, and the deputy superintendent. I saw him at an event that I was speaking on behalf of Summerlin. They asked me to speak while I was home. And I asked him, I said, sir, do you have any internships? Like, I'm home for the summer. I need something to do. I would love to have an internship. And he's like, I don't think we really have anything. Let me kind of look around. Well, I'm pretty sure he got tired of me calling because I called every day for like 2 weeks straight until somebody
Yeah.
gave me I mean, because they kept saying he was unavailable. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep calling until you tell me something different. And then finally,
Exactly.
he called me back. He was like, I got it set up. It's gonna be a paid internship. I'm like, whoa, paid?
See?
I didn't expect that. I just expected a regular
Right.
internship. Um, and so most people think, you know, since because I knew the superintendent at that time is like, oh, you pulled some strings. I'm like, no, actually, she knew nothing about it. So she
Yeah.
was just as shocked to see me in the halls and I was walking down the halls. And so just kind of building that relationship with her and building a relationship with everybody, it kind of trickled from just being the intern to the job that they gave me. I finished all within 2 weeks of
Oh,
being
wow.
there. And they thought it was going to take me the entire summer. So I rewrote some bylaws for a program, did all of that. And they were like, well, we got to find something else for you to do. So they couldn't find anything for me to do. So I started loaning myself out to other departments. Like, oh, you got this, I can take care of it for you. And they're like, oh, what do you work? And I'm like, oh, I'm an intern. And so it kind of turned into a thing where I just started working with all these different departments. Long story short, I end up leaving as an intern, and they turned my internship position into a full-time
Look
job because they
at
realized it
that.
was a need of something that they could not risk letting go. So when I came back, you know, during COVID, I'm like, all right, you know, it's probably time for me to find another
Yeah.
job, you know, see what I'm going to do. And they were like, no, we want you to stay. Like, we want you to stay. We've got a whole offer ready. We're ready to, you know, present you with something.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, well, let's do it. So that was a great career. End up becoming associate technician of IT data and then special projects officer. So basically, I handle all of your school board meetings and I handle all of high school graduations. So it was
What
a
did you
great
learn?
experience.
What did you learn? Because I'm listening to you and I'm sitting here in awe and inspired. What did you learn from that situation?
Well, let me be honest. Miss Bird taught me and is still teaching me so much.
Mm-hmm.
So much. Um, at that time, you know, a college person in college, you know, you're gonna think you know everything. I naturally thought I knew everything.
Yes.
But she taught me something very valuable. When you listen more than you speak, you get more done
Mm.
because you know the audience. If you know your audience, you know how to work the room. If you don't know your audience, you can't work the room, which means you can't get nothing accomplished. And so she taught me that while working for her, and then it kind of just taught me, okay, well, let me see if this works. And so I played it on my direct boss, and I was like, well, let me see if this actually works.
Yeah.
And I started listening to him, and I was like, oh, so you don't want this, you want this. And he goes, well, how did you know that? I'm like, well, that's what you just said. But the main thing I learned is don't always let other people tell you about something. Go and find out for yourself. They can tell. Like, I had a lot of people who told me, you know, the school district is not much of anything. You know, I don't know why you want to work there, or the school district ain't got no great people there, or this person thinks this way, this person thinks that way. But until you get to know for yourself and get to know that person for yourself, it's a whole different story. Because after working there and being in some of those meetings, and I thank God because I was in some closed doors that I would have never imagined I had the opportunity to be in.
Yeah.
And so hearing some of the things that's going on with the district and some of the things that's up on the horizon, everybody would get mad, you know, at leadership about what they were doing and the decisions that they made, but they never understood the cost of those decisions, or how, you know, I would love to give everybody a raise over here, but if I give everybody a raise over here, then 10,000 people got to be laid off from over here.
Yeah.
And so nobody ever understood those conversations. And so to be able to even not have, you know, sometimes I didn't always have, you know, say in the conversation. Most of the time I didn't have say in the conversation, but
Yeah.
just to be able to sit in the room and hear those conversations and understand, you know, for me to pull this string, something else got to give on this side.
Mm-hmm.
And so understanding that it wasn't always, you know, I know a lot of people thought it was administration that did a lot of stuff, but it was a lot of direction that came from the board. It was a lot of direction that came from Tallahassee. And so people didn't understand that because they were not there to witness it. And so they seen one picture of education instead of the
Yeah.
whole picture. And that's a good thing because honestly, everybody can't see the whole picture of how things should look because everybody won't be happy at the end of the day.
And you're absolutely right. And your lens of that is so important for what you have, on the horizon, what you are gearing up to and what your ambitions are leading you to. I'm gonna kind of backtrack a little bit before we
Okay.
dive deep into that perspective,
Okay.
because you got this position based off of an internship that you inquired about when you were home from college. And so I'm not going to skate over the opportunity to spotlight another HBCU. And when I say another HBCU, I mean, I
The
guess
illustrious HBCU.
I guess I can shine, some sort of light on this platform with BCU. I guess I can do
Hell Wildcats. Hell Wildcats.
that.
I think I've seen a few Wildcats in the comments. So if y'all down there, make sure y'all comment.
If you
Hell
are a Wildcat,
Wildcats.
go ahead and check in. Go ahead and check in. I mean, you broke my heart with that when I found out that you were going to BCU, but
Listen,
okay. So,
everybody says I broke my mom's heart with that one. Because she is a diehard FAMU. My sister is a grad of FAMU, and so I definitely broke their heart. I mean, my mom told me, she's like, my money is not going to no Bethune Cookman.
listen,
And so, I mean, but thankfully that money went to Bethune Cookman. So
thankfully that money went there,
mom and
right?
dad money had to go to Bethune Cookman as well as the rest of the family, because they know college. Everybody know I call home all the time. Listen, I need some
You need
money.
some money.
And so you got to
Think
play the
every
college
college student
game.
is like, look, I
Yeah,
need that net check. Like,
listen.
where's the surplus check?
Right, and you got to play the game. So if you ask grandma today, you got to ask auntie tomorrow. If you ask auntie then, you got to ask sister. Yeah, you got to play the
Yes,
game. You
you
got to know who you ask and where
do.
you ask.
Yes, you do. Listen, I just okay for me, and I've had this
Oh,
conversation with a lot of
right,
people. And you may get your grit, on another campus as well. But I just feel like that whole HBCU experience is like none other, because you learn survival skills, you learn how to be independent,
right,
you learn the fearlessness that resides in you innately because of your ancestral
right.
history. When you start to learn about how these institutions came to be and the people who made their sacrifices, the people who went above and beyond all of the obstacles, all of the no's, all of the racism, all of the, obstacles,
Exactly.
it burns something deep in you that makes you passionate.
Hmm.
At least that's what you should get from your HBCU experience. And so when I see you, I see that legacy of excellence, you know,
Thank you.
walking with you every time I see you, because what I see in you, MJ, is just fearlessness. Like I feel like there's nothing that you feel that you can't accomplish.
Hmm.
And it's so very important when you are a community servant to have that type of ambition, because you have to fight for the underdogs,
Right,
a lot of the
right.
times, and you have to be able to be the courageous vessel that stands in the gap to get things done.
That's so
And
true.
so is that what you learned from your HBCU experience, or tell me, what did you gain from your
So
HBCU experience that helped you?
the main thing, and I love this. I love this. The main thing I tell everybody is the main thing I learned from my HBCU experience is my history. Um, I grew up going to history classes. I went, my parents, thankfully, they worked hard so that I could be in some great schools in Polk
Yeah.
County, Daniel Jenkins Academy, Horizons Elementary, and then Summerlin Military Academy. But I can truly say I love my experience at all those academies and all those schools, and I even went to private school for some time. But none of them could teach me my history, teach me where my ancestors came
Right.
from, and so that was something that was big to me, as understanding where does this history that we glanced over in school. But I wanted to hear more in detail, like what it was about, because I'm one that I like to form decisions for myself. But it also taught me, Polk County Public Schools as an intern and as a volunteer taught me about networking, but Bethune-Cookman showed me how to network. They
Yes,
showed me how, because everybody knows if you go to a HBCU, you're going to get a great education, but it's all about who you know at the same time.
it
Like,
is.
there were some jobs that I had working at Bethune-Cookman University that was because of who I knew. There were some friends that I had, but it was because of who I knew. And so it taught me that networking is just as important as learning the information for that skilled career. I'm also appreciative for the friends that I had. I had some friends at Bethune Cookman that will always be
Yeah.
friends. I mean, probably until the day we all die, they are all friends. Now, the great part about it is that it showed me at Bethune Cookman, I ain't got to talk to them every day. I really don't. I don't have to talk to them every day because we all working jobs. We all trying to build our
Yes.
careers. But we know when we all get together, it's a brother
It's
and sisterhood. When all
a
of us get
family.
together, it's a
It's
family. We
it's
all family.
a family, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I don't know, most people don't know this, but Bethune-Cookman is a very religious campus. And
Hmm.
so when I first got there, I was kind of out of my element, so to
Hmm.
speak, because it was not what I was used to, if you know what I mean. It was not what I was used to. And so it was a whole different world. And I'm like, okay, how am I going to navigate
Yeah.
through this? And like I said, I was a church boy. I didn't really know much about how to do other stuff than just go to church. I mean, that's still most of the time what I do if I'm not out in the community. But they had a chaplaincy department that basically took me in as their own. It was some people who were actually from Polk County. I walked in the house to kind of meet with the
Yeah.
chaplain and see, what it was all about. And then those Polk County family members of mine walked down. I was like, "What you doing here?" And I'm like, "What you doing here?" And they was like, "Oh,
Exactly.
this is our house." And I was like, "Oh, perfect. I'm finna fit in great here." And it just turned out to be a great experience. I mean, I went to Bahamas, I went to Israel, and I had all those
Okay.
experiences at the cost of Bethune-Cookman University. So they were amazing in making sure that we were where we needed to be. If you ever felt homesick, they basically at that time the chaplaincy department was a house. And so if you felt homesick, you can go and sit on the couch
Yeah.
and lay on the couch and you be A-OK right there. You had somebody named Miss Mac. She used to watch the front room, and she was like your spiritual mother.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
knew when something was wrong. She knew when something was going on, but she was always right there to provide advice and solutions. So that chaplaincy department was amazing. Granted,
Good.
HBCU has its flaws.
Yeah.
Every school does,
Yeah.
even if it's not an HBCU. But overall, best experience I ever had. I would not change it for anything in the
Good.
world.
And I wouldn't either. Like you have hit on some great points because it feels like a family away from home, and especially when you start to get into those organizations, when
Right.
you start to find people regionally that are from where you are from, it takes it to a whole nother level. Like
Mm-hmm.
that whole sense of family and community takes it up a notch. And so we had a viewer that has a future wildcat on the horizon. And so,
Okay.
what advice would
Okay.
you give to their daughter? Because their daughter chose BCU. I'm still
I'm glad to hear that.
pretty choked up
I'm
about that,
I'm
but
I'm glad to hear that. That mean they
what
had I
advice?
don't I'm glad to hear that. That means I don't have to pray for her deliverance. That's a good thing.
Like
She made the right choice. She following God. I'm happy to hear that.
I'm gonna be
But listen,
so nice because you're my guest tonight. I'm gonna be so nice. I ain't gonna take it though. Be so nice. But what advice would you give her? Like
um,
she's an incoming
okay,
freshman.
incoming freshman to Bethune-Cookman. So
Yes.
first thing, go to class. Freshman year is the
I know
hardest year.
that's right.
Go to class. That's freshman year is going to be your hardest year, and I'll tell you, Bethune-Cookman is known to give freshmen more 8 o'clock classes more than anything.
Mm-mm.
So definitely go to class, because honestly, most people don't realize this. If you don't go to class your freshman year, it can affect the way the rest of your years in college
Yeah.
go. That freshman year is so critical because if you don't pass classes, then you spend time when you should have been taking core classes to focus on whatever major you chose, that you got to go back and take those remediated classes all over again. So make sure that you go to class, do what
Get
you're
to
supposed
class.
to be doing. Yes, get to class. But also the second thing, network, have fun. You're in college.
Yeah.
Understand that you're free, but you're not free to do whatever.
Right.
Because that's just life. You got to realize you're off by yourself. You're
Right.
not under mommy and daddy's finger anymore. So you kind of got to set that discipline for yourself. Like I had discipline when I went to Summerlin, but being in college was a whole different level of discipline
Yeah.
because I got the freedom to do whatever I want to do. Like I can go anywhere I want to go. I can come home anytime I want to come home. Like I don't even have to do homework if I don't want to, but I had
Right.
to realize there was consequences. And so Bethune-Cookman, there are a lot of parties, a lot of parties. You just kind of gotta, it's okay to go to party every now and then, but if you know you got a test 8 a.m. on Wednesday and it's a party Tuesday night, it might not be in your best interest to go
Might
to
not.
that party Tuesday night
It just
because
might not
you got
be.
class in the morning, and realize that it may seem like everybody else is going out partying, but everybody else ain't crossing the
Yeah.
stage. And so
Yeah.
you gotta keep in mind, that would be my main thing, for that future Wildcat is keep in mind that you want to cross the stage. You want to cross the stage. There are a lot of people who go to college, but there's not a lot of people who graduate. And so you
Mhm.
want to make sure that that's your main focus, that you actually go across that stage. And so that'd be the message. Just make the best of it. Make the
Yeah.
best experience out of it. If they having pep rallies and stuff like that, go to those type of events. Because that's when you're going to meet
Yeah.
lifelong friends. And once you meet that one friend, it's always that one or two friend. I don't know if it was like that for you, but that
It,
one or two friend
it
who gonna
is.
stick with you all the way through college. I mean, y'all ain't you gonna have your ups
Yep.
and downs like normal friends, but they gonna stick with you all through college and even after college.
It is. It's the fact. What it was for me, it was the friends. It was my roommates. Number
Okay.
one, and I lucked up because I was able to. One of my best friends
Mm-hmm.
happened to be one of my roommates my freshman year. So I lucked up in that area,
Okay.
and then so I still talk to a lot of my roommates, but it was the people that were in my major. We were all in J school, and so we still keep in contact to this day. But like you said, it is like that. And then the Polk County crew, like the Polk County
Oh
crew got
yeah,
as
yeah.
tight.
They
Like
always
we're still
you always
tight to
gonna
this
be
day.
together. Yeah.
We are still tight to this day. So yeah, like you gave some really good advice, like for those who are entering that. But that when you said go to class, it just took me back because I'm like, Lord, like I'm a party
Ooh,
with y'all, but what I did is I came home and I did my work and then I went out. Like
I
that's
was a
the formula
boy.
that people don't understand. Like you do your work first and
Right,
then go
right.
out. I went out Monday through Sunday, but I did my
Yeah,
work.
yeah. See, you was a good student. I can truly say sometimes it was hard to get out. There's some classes I didn't go to at 8 a.m. I had to find that. I like, I gotta go to class.
You're
Yeah.
right. You're right. I'll give
Yeah,
it
it,
to you.
it, it was one or two where it's like, all right, I ain't make it that today.
Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all, and then like another thing. This is one of my joys. Like when you do that, and then you go to class the next day, and you know how that like we had our professors on a
Mm-hmm.
timer, and so I can't remember if it was 5 or 10 minutes, but it's like if they weren't there within that time, who has a piece of paper? Let's start this list. Write your name, and we
Ooh,
gone.
see,
Like
y'all had it
do
lucky. Bethune-Cookman, I still remember that in my head. 15 minutes for normal professors, 20 minutes if you're a doctor.
we
If you
gone.
got a doctor in front of your name. Yeah, we out after the. Hey, somebody send the sheet around. Start that regular piece of paper.
Exactly.
We sign our name. We was here. You ain't.
When I tell you that was like the highlight of my class, like, oh my gosh, get this list going. Like, I'm like, yes,
I
get the
used to try to
list.
get the list sent around at 11 minutes. Y'all send the list. we got to go.
Look, we passing the professor in the hallway, like, we gone.
We gone.
Like,
Yeah, we signed the
we'll
paper.
see.
That's it. That's it. I was
Like,
here.
we'll see you. We'll
If
see
only
you.
if only grade school was like
Right.
that. Yeah, no,
Right,
pass
right.
sign that paper and you get out of there real fast. And you don't take the main hallway. You always take the back stairs just in case you see the professor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So you got this down to a science. You got it down to a
Oh yeah.
science.
Oh yeah.
You, you
Whoever
know
that
what
future
I
wildcat is, just reach out to me. Reach out. Yeah.
and I will link I will definitely link you guys up because
Okay.
her parents are actually the founders of Boss Fest, and so they are movers and
Okay.
shakers in the community, and so they do a lot of community work as well.
Perfect.
And so yeah, I will definitely make sure I link you with them. And so I asked you to be on this podcast because I see the light in you and I know what you're trying to do. And I wanted to make sure that I gave you a platform to be able to tell everyone, what your plans and your goals are
Yeah.
for this seat for District 2. But I also wanted you before, getting into that point,
Mm-hmm.
I never want people to just think because they may look at you, MJ, they may say, like he's had the ideal life, like he has a supportive family. He used to hang out personally with the superintendent, like he's a church boy, just on the straight and narrow, and they never see or even think that you could have any obstacles
Mm-hmm.
that you've had to come back from. And so I know for a fact that we all have our storms, we all have our valleys, but then we know that this life is pretty much like a roller coaster. So we shouldn't dwell in our valleys because it's always going to go like this. It's always going to go
Right.
like this. You have your
Right.
downs, but you're going to also have your ups. And so What's something that people don't necessarily know that you personally had to overcome and make a
Ooh,
comeback from?
okay. So I'll tell you that part of life, and my family is probably the only people that probably know about this. That part of life started when I was probably a wee tiny baby. So
Hmm.
I used to have seizures as a kid, and so they would come on out of nowhere. I would just be in the bed with a family member, and then just started seizing out of nowhere. And
Hmm.
so that was a scary situation for my family. I was too young to remember it, but I remember those times having to go over that St. Pete Bridge to the All Children's Hospital.
Yeah.
And so that was a monthly trip that I was kind of in the zone of taking. I remember going over that bridge with my parents and going to those different appointments. Most of the time it's like with my mom and stuff like that, seeing, going over. And my mom hates bridges. So that's how I kind of remember that, because she hates those type of bridges. But my family kind of knows of that situation and how, you know, it was literally prayers that
Yeah.
kind of stopped that situation. It was prayers from my parents, prayers from my grandparents, prayers from my great grandmother, who I was like super, super close with, that kind
Yeah.
of just all of a sudden stopped those seizures from happening. And so you had that life challenge, then, facing death in a way like that, as a young baby, and not knowing what's going on. And then fast forward into high school and having, a major accident where the car flipped and landed upside down on I-4. It was
Oh,
a whole
wow.
different situation. And so that was my sophomore year of high school, and that was after the first week of school. It had only been 1 week of school, going through that accident, and then being told I have a torn ligament that's connected to my spine.
Hmm.
And so knowing that, I can't really walk and get around like I want
Right.
to. I can't, for 9 to 10 weeks, I had to lay straight on a bed with
Hmm.
a neck brace on because I was not allowed to move. And so I'll tell you, that was a depressing time in my life. I
Yeah.
was so depressed because I missed out on a lot of stuff that my friends were doing at school. I missed out on a lot of activities that were going on with people who like lived around me. And so I went through a phase of depression. Thank God for, my great grandmother, who was right there. And I had other family, mother, father, and all of them who were right there as well. But my
Yeah.
great grandmother was right there, basically telling me, baby, it's gonna be all right. You're gonna be all right. You're gonna get through this. And so it was times like that. But let me not be, uh, what's the word? Let me not be cautious and let you think that it was easy getting to this,
Yeah.
and I'm not accomplished, nowhere near where I want to be. But at the end of the day, I am a black male, aiming for a high powered career in Polk County. And so we have to be honest in knowing that there are some people who are not for me. There are some people who I know are not for me. But believe it or not, those are some of the closest friends that I have. And I say that because only way I can know that they're not for me is if I know that what they got going on. And so I'm real big on keep your friends close, but keep your enemies even closer. And so for those of you who are my good friends, I'm not saying you my enemy.
Right.
I'm
I know
not
they're
saying
like,
you my
who are we
enemy.
talking
Yeah,
to?
no,
We
no, no,
talking to
no.
me?
I'm not saying you my enemy. But there are some people who just are not happy to see,
Yeah.
African Americans thriving. And we just have to come to that realization and knowing that that is something that is going on. And we have to realize it. And
How
I
do
think
you
when we,
how do you deal with that though? And I put a pin in it there,
mm-hmm,
simply because I'm raising two male children,
mm-hmm.
right? How do you get past that, MJ? Like, that you are an African American male who's striving for excellence, and you're going to have daggers, at this corner, that corner.
Mm-hmm.
How does that make you feel, and how do you navigate that?
So I'll tell you, the way my family raised me is you are secure in who you are.
Yeah.
If somebody else has a problem with you, that's their problem. It has nothing to do with me. And so I'm going to keep my head up. I'm going to keep my confidence high. Now, of course, there's going to be days that I come and I dread the day because I know what's about to come. But as long as they don't see me dreading the day, I'm good. Because at the end of the day, nobody but God got that much power where they turn down my day or turn down how I'm feeling about something. And so I'm going to keep my head held high. I'm going to keep walking. I'm going to keep moving. And I'll tell you that how I get through most days is I'm a Jeremiah 29:11
I know
kid.
that's right.
That is
I know that's
my
right.
scripture. For those of you who don't know that scripture, it says, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end. And so what that tells me is that whatever problems I'm facing down here, they're short term. They ain't gonna last forever, because I already know I have an expected end in Christ.
Yeah.
And so I'm just walking out the life that he's called me to live. Now, thankfully, he's given me some great blessings along the way, and I'm appreciative for that. But I truly can say from the bottom of my heart, if God forbid, but if I'm praying that I do win, but if I don't win the election, if I lose my job tomorrow, if I only got $2 to my name, I'm still happy, because I know who I am. I know what I can achieve. I know what I can accomplish. And so if we pass that message down to the kids of this society and letting them know, hey, who cares because somebody say something about you? Who cares because they made a gesture at you? They're going to talk about you until the day you die. I mean, they talked about Jesus. That's what Medea say. I mean, they talked about
that's
Jesus.
always my go-to, MJ. I'm like, listen, what you expect, Jazz? They talked about Jesus.
I mean,
who are
when
you?
somebody tells me, somebody talking about me, hey, tell them to join the line. It's a lot of people that don't like me.
Yes.
It's okay. I'm okay if you don't like me. But here's the part that people can't understand about me. When you tell me that you don't like me, don't be surprised when I come back and try to have a lunch with you or have a coffee with you.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, if you don't like me, well, let's see why you don't like me. Let's have a conversation and let's explain this, because maybe you don't understand why I feel the way I feel about certain situations. And so that's what it all boils down to. It's all a big miscommunication.
Thank
and
you.
until we learn how to communicate it, hey, you can have a problem with me, but I don't have a problem with you, and I'm okay. It's not going to stop my sleep at night.
Yes.
And so I think that's just something. And I try to get, I have a few mentees. And so the mentees that I do have, I try to get them to realize that who cares what people think about you? Who cares what they say about you? People going to talk. But as long as you're secure in what you know and what you're supposed to be, that's all that matters.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And money ain't everything. That's the second part. Money ain't everything.
Money ain't everything.
Money gonna come and money gonna go.
Yes. Yes, it will. Look, this is a tight smile.
Right.
Yes,
It's gonna come and it's gonna go.
Yes.
I mean, if you can't steward $10, you can't think you're gonna steward the lotto of $10 million.
That's absolutely
simple
true.
math.
Yeah,
Simple
that's
math.
absolutely true. So, with this run that you have, District 2, taking the place of, the best district, taking the place of Lori Cunningham.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you who don't know, District 2 is basically your Davenport, your like the Four Corners area,
Poinciana,
that corridor,
the Dundee
corridor that is like this,
the
fastest growing district in Polk County.
Right,
sir. What do you plan? What are your sites? What's your platform? How do you plan to go about making District 2 the best district, keeping it the best district?
I'll give you my points, and I tell this everywhere I go when I speak. First of all, in order for District 2 to thrive, we've got to bridge the gap between the district and the district leaders. And so being that is the fastest growing area, some would think it's the fastest growing area in the southeastern part of the country right now. It's just that big and booming. I mean, every day there are people moving into that Davenport, Haines City area. And so if we don't connect them with our local leaders, then our education, those parents are going to lose sight of their child's education. And so it then becomes not only an educational problem, but it becomes a behavioral problem, because if you can't get the parent to come in for a literacy night that you're having at a school, you're definitely not going to get them to come in when you're having behavioral problems with that student. And so we've got to figure out a way to make sure that those community leaders and those parents and those stakeholders in the community are connected with our district leader. Well, how do you say that? What I propose is we got to get out of Bartow with these district meetings. Not everybody can make it to Bartow. Right. I mean, let's be honest. If you going from Davenport to Bartow and you trying to make it to a 5:00 meeting, let's be honest, it's going to take you about an hour and 20 minutes to get there just because of the traffic right now. And so nobody's going to drive an hour and 20 minutes. I know it's not feasible right now to move a whole board meeting from Bartow to Davenport, but that's something we can look at in the future. But what we can do right now, We can do these town hall meetings where we bring the superintendent and the deputy superintendent and the chief academic officer and the chief of staff and the chief of operations, and we bring all, the associate superintendent of operations. We bring all these people in a room. You could do it at a community center. You can do it at a Lake Eva or something, and bring them in and let the community come in and ask their questions. I think we can get on a much better basis of the community having a stake in their child's education, or the community having a stake in the education system as a whole. Because let's be honest, most of the parents aren't coming because they don't understand what's really going on. The one thing that we do have in District 2 is we have a lot of language bearing families where they don't English is not their first language. And so we've got to get those parents involved, even though their child is the communicator or the translator for their family. And so that's a barrier when you have a child who's getting in trouble, or a child who's being awarded for something, and then you're depending, the school administrator or the school teacher is depending on that child to translate what's going on. So we got to make sure that we have the translation services. Thankfully, there are translation services in place, but the question is, do we have enough of them for the vast array of people who are moving into that area? And so we got to make sure that we got that in place. Secondly, we got to make sure that we have a rigorous academic progression plan. And what I mean by that is, I don't want to see a STEM elementary school, a Cambridge middle school, and an IB high school. Yeah. Because you're changing different tracks of how that child is going to matriculate through their educational career. Let me see a Cambridge elementary school, a Cambridge middle school, and a Cambridge high school. And so that child is not confused in changing different academic plans. And I know that's kind of hard right now because you kind of got to depend on some grant funding. Right. But what we need to do is, when we do get that funding, is allocate and advocate and allocate that money being toward those progression plans in that specific area.
And that makes sense. That makes sense.
It does. I mean, just recently, we just got some money came in. I think it was from the state. And don't quote me on that, but I think it's from the state. And they used the money to open some new programs. There were some new Cambridge elementaries and stuff like that. But some of them were in areas that had no progression plan from there.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, where do you expect the child to go? I mean, you expect that they're starting off in this STEM program, which they're excelling at, they're doing great at, and now you expect them to go to a Cambridge middle or some type of school, or IB middle or something like that. And it's like, it's a whole different educational plan. And so how can you expect them to succeed if they're going from different types of plans? And so my goal is to see that there is one, and I would love for District 2 to be the first, pilot for that, where there is one Cambridge, well, I'll say IB because we already have an IB high school, but an IB elementary, an IB middle, and then an IB high right after that. But we also have to acknowledge that there are some schools that just don't have attractors. And so we need to get some of those attractors to those schools as well. And so that every school can feel like they have something that's attracting them. I was so glad, so glad to see that Tenor Rock was able to get a Cambridge program, because for the longest time, there was no attractor at that school. And there was nothing on the different types of administration. Like I said, it's more so you have to find out what fits at what school.
Right.
But sometimes we just need to make sure that is actually on par with what is actually needed for those particular schools, and seeing that is actually being done for those particular schools. Third thing, college and career readiness. We understand that every child is not going to college. That is okay. Every child is not going to the military. That is okay. Every child is not going to work. That is okay. Some kids are going to trades. They're going all over the place. And so we need to make sure. Now, I can, as an advocate for workforce education, because that used to be the department that I used to work in and everything, I can truly say we are doing a great job at making sure that all of these things are in place. But the question then becomes, and I know this is something they've been working on here recently, of tying those, say you have a career academy, tying those career academies to whatever the industry need is of that community. And so what that means is, you can't put a medical academy that's thriving at George Jenkins and think it's going to thrive at Davenport High School. The markets are different. The
Mm-hmm.
market in Lakeland could need, medical professionals at that time, while the market in Davenport, I can tell you right now, needs hospitality like crazy.
And that's what I was
So
going to ask you. I said I was going to ask you what would be the need in your district,
yeah.
but you answered
So
it. Mm-hmm.
right now, I'll tell you District 2 construction, because it's booming like crazy. Hospitality is absolutely number one, because you have Disney World, you have Universal, you have iDrive, you have all these different hospitality fields that are
Mm-hmm.
actively seeking for people to come and get jobs. I mean, the Rosen Center, the Mr. Rosen himself has a whole program dedicated for people who don't have degrees that can come work for him, and he'll pay for their college degree and move them up at his company. And that's why he's been so
Mm-hmm.
successful as a hotel owner and keeping his hotel staff. But there are, everywhere you go, it's short staff. And so hospitality is a major industry that has a big need in District 2. And so I'm glad that, workforce education is they're looking into that, and they've seen that, and they've put some programs, I know for sure, at Davenport High School and stuff like that, trying to make sure that it's getting there. But we have to move at a faster rate than we're moving.
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, if Polk can't produce it, the businesses aren't going to wait around for us to get these jobs into our communities for our students. They're going to go to Osceola. They're going to go to Orange County, because if they can produce faster, that's just where they're going to go. So we got to make sure that we have all hands on deck when it comes to making. And what I mean by all hands on deck, we need parent participation. We need student participation. We need administration participation. We need district administration participation. And how do you do that? If you don't have the buy-in from the community, if you're not going out there and being at these community events and seeing and showing the families and the students that I don't just care about you excelling academically, but I want you to excel all the way around. Because if you excel all the way around, it makes you want to be at school. If you see that we're supporting you, it makes you want to be there. And so for me, I can't know the needs of District 2 if I'm not going out and being in District 2.
What are you doing in District 2? Like, how we know, like, I've seen you, around, but in District 2, talk to me about what you like strategically are doing. And I know District 2 is a part of your heart, because that's where you're from, that's where, where you live in and eat and all of that good stuff. What are you actively doing in the community?
So I'll tell you right now, my big thing is advocacy. District 2 does not realize all the various array of opportunities that are available to them. And so I've kind of started, even, before my political campaign started, I've been going around just talking to different groups and telling them, hey, you can do this. You can go be a pilot totally for free through the James D. Ray Scholarship. You can go to tech college. If you want to be a cosmetologist, go to school right now. Go to a tech college. That way, when you graduate high school, you're not only leaving with your high school diploma, but you're leaving with your license for cosmetology. You can go right into your field. And that's the problem. It's not quite communicated as much. There's always been this stigmatism of District 2 is last to get everything, because we're not Lakeland and we're not Winter Haven or something like that. And so in order to defy the myths and let people know that that's not the case, you can't do that if you don't communicate with them all the different opportunities. And so it's not just in the education system, it's all over. It's in the business world as well, where, District 2, that area, that northeast portion of the county, is big on, well, what are you doing for me?
Yeah.
What are you doing for my community? Because I'm not doing something for you to take it to Lakeland or you to take it to Winter Haven. I want it to be right here in my community. And so advocating for that, there are opportunities here. But the problem is, if we as District 2 don't know about them and we don't use them, then whoever's sponsoring those opportunities are going to take them, same thing with like the business opportunity, and move them to an area that is using them. And so that's the big thing right now, is getting people to understand that there's so many opportunities right now for kids. There are so many scholarships. There's so many different things that they can be doing right now that will prepare them for their career, even though they're in school. And so making sure that people understand that. Secondly, is a big thing that I started is, because like we were talking about earlier, there are some tables that I'm allowed to sit at and have some input in and some direction on how things are going. But advocating in that perspective as well, and letting people know, hey, Northeast is still here.
Yeah.
We still need resources. We still need, you just did that, in there last year. Let's go ahead and move this to the Northeast. Let's find a location. Big shout out to Marissa Green with the city of Haines City. She's been a very big advocate and very big help as far as getting things set up for the Northeast. And I'm glad to see that, because I need people to know that there is so much more potential in the Northeast. I mean, I love Lakeland. Don't get me wrong. My office is in Lakeland and stuff like that. I love Bartow. I love Winhaven. I sit on boards in all of those different areas. But I'm just that crazy to believe the Northeast is the best portion of the county. I just believe that because I grew up there. I know the potential that it has. I knew what the community gave me. I remember those old ladies walking in the morning. They still come up and talk to me as I'm waiting at the bus stop. And they would stand there and watch until I got on the bus to make sure that I got on the bus safely. That still happens. And so it shows that there is still a community sense, a community feel. We might not have all the big resources that the bigger cities have, but we have community. And as long as we got community, that's all we need. Yeah. And so making sure people know that there are great people in the Northeast portion of the county. And as you can see, our cities are growing. Our city of Haines City has got some great stuff going on. City of Davenport. If you would have looked at Davenport 5-10 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, it was a little small town. Right. So now Davenport, they got their own parades. They got houses and stuff going on. They got businesses coming. They got a whole community center now. And so realizing that there is so much more. And so I'm glad to see, especially for the Northeast Chamber, they've done a great job at making sure that everybody in the Northeast is connected and networking all together. And so my big thing is if I can advocate for that at my tables. And so what I realized is at a young age, well, not young, but you get what I'm saying.
Because I was going to say, well, how old are you, MJ, though? How old are you?
I'm 24.
Yes, at a young age. Let's call it what it is.
At a younger age. I'll say at a younger age. I realized.
At a younger age.
Because I used to hear the same thing. Lakeland gets everything. Winhaven gets everything. Bartow gets everything. And so I realized, well, until we go sit at the table, we'll never have anything. And so thankfully, I've been allowed. I haven't made it to the great table that I would like to make it to yet, which is school board. So we'll get there soon. But I realize if I even have one piece of advice, as long as people are hearing about the things that are going on in the Northeast, it'll change the whole trajectory of all what's going on. And so I'm trying to make sure that people know that there are so many opportunities that are going on. I'll tell you, and I'll say this publicly, any event, any church, any organization that invites me in, even before my campaign, they'll tell you, I will come in, I will talk to your kids, I will talk to your parents, to let them know all the different opportunities. Big shout out to New Mount Zion and Pastor Harold Bennett and his church. I went in recently, and basically I saw that campaign that morning. But after that service was over, we got down to the nitty gritty of all what's available in our community. You had some kids there who wanted to be pilots, but their parents knew nothing about the James C. Ray Scholarship, which will pay for their entire pilot's license. A whole pilot's license for free. You can't get that everywhere. And so realizing that there's so many opportunities. And so my mission is go to these other places, learn about all this stuff, but bring it back. Yeah. That's what we forget. Yeah. I'm not just building, I'm not doing all this stuff to build myself up. I'm doing this so I can bring the rest of my community up with me.
Yeah. I was recently in all of those points that you stated, and I do appreciate you for, giving me the full gamut of what you choose to do, what you are going to do, what you plan to do for District 2, because like you stated, it is a fast growing district. And even listening to some of the projections that we have for our county, just knowing that there may need to be a need for another high school over in that area, because all of the schools that we've already allocated to be in that area are already at max capacity. So the growth is continuing. And so like you stated, with the trade schools, with the different types of the academic succession plan that we need to have, all of those points that you stated, you are speaking it from a person not just of knowing the political points to make, but because you've had an opportunity to have a bird's eye view, a worm's eye view, all types of views when it comes to how this school board works. You've had the opportunity because you put your boots on the ground to know how the community in which you are running to serve works as well. And I think that is definitely a winning formula. But you don't even just stay in your community, you go abroad,
Exactly.
with the expansion of the entire community. You were just one of the broadcasters for the MLK parade over in Lakeland, and I saw you and I'm
That's
like, look
true.
at MJ, what is MJ doing now?
You got to represent. I mean, that somebody just from seeing that may know, hey, that's that kid from the Northeast, from Haines City.
Right. And I like that. I like that. That shows that you're very personable. It shows that, you are really working for the community. I was watching a podcast episode with Judge Lynn Toller on it today.
Okay.
And she made a point, and she stated she was talking about her relationship with her husband, and this was when she was running for judge. And she stated that she and her husband almost got into almost made it into divorce court because of how hard he pushed her to run her campaign. And she said that he was just like, go to 9 more houses, go to 10 more houses. This was like an everyday thing, like knock on the door, like present your platform. And she said, you know what? He was spot on. He was on the money because she won by 6 votes. By
Wow.
6
By 6
votes. And so those times that she wanted to give in, those times that she did not want to go campaign, she was just done. He pushed her. And I want to know, how do you plan to keep your momentum, number one? And then number two, how do you plan to encourage those to go out and vote? Because that's what kills all of our great candidates, is the lack of people going to vote. So what's your strategy for that?
So momentum, still working on that, because it like you say, it's nonstop. It's always something for the campaign. And so
Right.
when I first decided to run, I had a meeting with someone who's a very successful politician in Polk County. And so their words to me was, I hope you're ready, because you're going to never get sleep from now until the election day. And so they said, when you wake up, you're going to campaign from 5 a.m. to, I go to work at 8:30. That's my time to be at work, is 8:30. So from 5 a.m. to 8 a.m., you're campaigning. You're going to work from 8:30 to 5, and from 5 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. you're campaigning. And so I thought that was a joke at first, but that is truly the case. You're campaigning every single time you touch. And there are cases where I'm walking in the store, on my lunch break, and I'm campaigning at that point as well, because all it takes is that, like you said, that one vote to make a difference. And so the momentum thing, what I do is I rejuvenate by vacations. And so I like to go places and stuff like that. But granted, I can't quite do that in the middle of a campaign, because you're expected to go be at this event. You need to be at this event. You need to knock on this door. You need to do this. And so my thing is, I find my peacefulness. Most of the time it's driving or either in the shower, one of the two. And so it's most of the time where I either sing, or I can't sing at good, but I can hold a note.
That shower elevates us. That shower takes us up there.
And then, music is a big place for me. I don't always know the words, but just the tune and the beat of it, kind of is relaxing. And so my car rides, if I'm not on a phone call in the car, it's kind of where I kind of do my decompressing at that moment. And I could do one good car ride and I'm good.
That's
but
me too.
as far as the people getting out to vote, I think communicating. And so letting people know that just because it's not the presidential election, it still is an important race. The presidential election is a very important race, but let's be honest, it's the local decisions that affect our communities. And so your city commissions, your school boards, your tax appraiser, your property appraiser, your clerk of courts, all of those type of positions, your supervisor of elections, they are the ones who are making great decisions that affect you. Now, I'm not saying that all of them are great decisions. I'm saying it's a lot of decisions that they're making that affects this local community. The president can make a decision tomorrow, but it might not affect us for another 2 or 3 years. Right. But if one of those local officials, your city commission can say there's a curfew in place and everybody must be in the house by 8 p.m. or they're arrested. And that matters. That a local election is one of the most important elections in
Absolutely.
any election that you can think of. So if
Absolutely.
you're not voting, if we're not out and communicating and telling people, hey, you need to vote for the local election, just because it's not the same election as the president, you still need to go out and vote. You need to see that there's so many different positions that are going on. I mean, let's be honest, our judges are elected here locally. And so if we're not going out and we're just and I know some people probably see it on the ballot. I see it all the time.
Yeah.
There are some election places where it doesn't even ask you to choose a new one. It just asks yes or no if you want to keep the same person in office.
Right.
And so if we're not actually going in and reading and seeing what this is, actually finding out, there are so many organizations. I know Polk County Voters League does one that puts out sample ballots and lets you know what these people stand for, what do they believe, what all these different things. Because let's be honest, we as a community, we're one of the laxed amount of vote where my vote don't matter, my voice don't matter. But Polk County Voters League made a shirt that says no vote, no voice. And so basically what that means is if you didn't vote, you can't complain about nothing because you chose not to go out and vote. And so I think a big thing is we have to get to as many communities. We got to get to churches. I would love to get back to a place where I see churches starting to use. I mean, let's be honest, church vans aren't being used for much of anything on election day because it's a Tuesday unless it's that night. So let's get these church vans. Let's get these. I'm thankful that, Homes Funeral Directors in Haines City, they do this. I think Coney does the same thing. But Homes Funeral Directors, they pull out their hearses, their limos on election day, and they ride through the community. They give rides to the polls for people who don't have cars.
That's a great idea.
And
that's
let
a great
people know,
idea.
hey, come on, we'll get you there. Not only can you get to the poll, but they'll ride you there in style in one of the limos. So you're getting an experience, but you're going to vote. And so that's my big thing is I've been working with a lot of different organizations, and that's my big push. I think the month of March is my big push for that, is getting a lot of churches and getting other funeral homes to join in. Hey, do you mind going to this area and picking up people and letting them know, hey, this is a pickup time. Every 30 minutes, we'll be going to the polls. We'll be driving you to and from this location if you can make it there. Because let's be honest, if they don't have a ride, we can't expect them to be enthused about registering to vote. But if we approach them with, let's register to vote, and I have a solution to your transportation needs, now I'm more inclined to vote because not only are you worried about my vote, but you're also worried about my livelihood, about how I'm going to get there. And so I think we need to work on that and communicating that to our community as a whole, no matter what the color of your skin is, but the content of your character. Like Martin Luther King said, we got to work together and make sure that we all thrive as one community.
That's a great response. Great answer. And solution driven. That's what I listen for. Like I like to hear, not necessarily like to hear, but I get very vested when I hear someone on their political platform, but I always listen to the solutions because you not only have to address a problem, because it's like we know the problem.
Right.
And you've eloquently restated the problem. But what's the solution? Exactly. And so you come with knowledge, you come with a game plan, you come with solutions. And so MJ, listen, I am committed. This is what I'm going to do on my platform. Okay. What I'm going to do, tell me what's the date of the election? When do we get out and vote?
August 20th, 2024.
August 20th, 2024. And so this is my gift to you in terms of your platform. What I'm going to do, I go live every single Monday. I have an episode every Monday. So every Monday up until now, until August, what I am going to do is I am going to do an ad for you for your platform. Okay. And so if invoking those who are in your district who can vote for you, I am going to make sure that I back your platform because I believe in what you're doing. I know that you are you're most welcome. You're most welcome. You're highly qualified for this position. It's almost like you've been groomed for this position. Like you have a passion for children, you have a passion for education, you have a passion to move the community progressively. And again, you have a plan. And so you are qualified. Again, he is qualified. Again, he's qualified and he's youthful. He has the energy. Okay, so listen.
It takes a lot, but I got it.
So I have the utmost faith in you.
Thank you.
I know that you are going to do justice to your seat. You are already going in as a winner. You have the background. You have the history of knowing how to get over trials, how to get over struggles. You know how important education is. And so the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz podcast is definitely backing you. And so you will get advertisement free from me from now up until that point. Just send me your points that you want me to make, and it's done. It's done. And anything that you need help with your platform, just let me know. And if I can do it, if it's in my power to do it, it's done.
Thank you.
It's that simple.
Thank you.
It's that simple.
I appreciate that. More
Not
than
a problem.
I appreciate that.
Not a problem at all. Definitely. Not a problem at all. And so, what do you want to leave us with, sir? We're ending it. We're rounding it off. What do you want to end with?
Vote. Listen, I need everybody. I need you. I tell everybody, this is not me winning an election. This is a partnership. This is the start of a partnership. And so I need your help to fund this partnership, to make sure this partnership thrives. I need your vote. I tell everybody, I need 3 things from you. If you can spare them. First, I need your vote on August 20th, 2024. I need you to go to the polls. I need you, if you need a mail-in ballot, I need you to call the elections office and let them know you need a mail-in ballot. Secondly, I need your prayers. That's really first. I need your prayers because let's be honest, prayer without works is dead. And
Absolutely.
So I need you to be praying for me as I'm doing the work that I'm called to do, that, that's been placed on my heart to do. So I need you to pray for me. I need you to vote for me. And thirdly, no campaign can run without money. So if you want to donate, please follow me on Facebook, Marcus Wright Jr. for Polk County School Board District 2. There'll be links that'll take you to the donation platform. Please go find that link. There'll be a website that's going to be up probably maybe in the morning. So there might be a nice little surprise. So please go and follow my Facebook page, Marcus Wright Jr. for Polk County School Board District 2. It'll have everything on there. It'll lead you to all the rest of the platforms. For as far as giving, as far as volunteering. If you want to volunteer, please message us on Facebook. Let us know. So there are many different volunteer opportunities. There's also some yard signs that are in. So if you need a yard sign for your yard, message us on Facebook. Let us know. If you don't have Facebook and you want to do this, my number is public information. It's all over the internet right now. Text me, send me a text, call me. 863-624-1938. It's all over. I can give it out because it's all over the elections website right now. I've already started getting the random calls. I want to hear some of you call me as well. If you got questions about my platform, feel free to call me. I would love to set up a lunch or a coffee with you so we can go and discuss it more in detail. So please follow me on Facebook. Pray for me. Donate if you can. But most of all, I need your vote on August 20th, 2024. That comes free of charge to you. And it's a right that we have, and it's a right that we should definitely take advantage of.
Done. All 3 of them done. So I will definitely
thank you.
You're welcome. Even though you are a Wildcat.
I see some of them little strikey strikes down here in the comments too. So we ain't going they strike and get struck down, but it's all right.
Well, you better want to strike at the polls.
Yeah, that's what I need y'all to do. Go strike at them polls. Y'all strike and we'll roar with the Wildcats and we'll all make it better.
We got you. We got you, sir. So thank you so much for being my special guest. And at any time that you want to come back, that you feel that you want to come and say something to the people, please do. If I have events, which I do have an event on February 28th that I'll talk to you about off camera, that I would love for you. Actually, I can make it public because at my school, we're having a Black History Month celebration on February 28th, but it's from 3:30 to 4:45, and it's at Academy Prep Center in Lakeland. And so I'm inviting the community out. That would be a great time. It's in Lakeland, but it still is a great time for you to rub some shoulders with some people.
Send me the information and count it done.
I will.
Send me the information, count it done.
I will definitely send it to you. And then we also have opportunities for anyone out there who wants to come. I have 5 spots that the week of the 28th to come in and speak to our kids, and that will be from 7:30 to about 7:55, but it's only like a 5 to 7 minute speech that you would have to talk to the kids about the importance of education and then what you're doing now to celebrate Black History Month. So if anybody's interested, let me know. You already have a spot. You can just tell me what day you want if you're available, because I don't want you to overcommit, but if you are available, I will send you that information. But I will definitely be supporting you along your campaign trail, and we wish you much success here on the Jazzy Conversations with Jazz podcast.
Thank you.
You're welcome, and thank you so much for being my special guest for episode 109.
It's my honor.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you. Listen, this is not the only place that this is going to air, right? So this will be broadcast here on IG, but it's also going to be posted on YouTube. So what I need for you to do, because IG never lets me keep my comments, my likes, or anything. So once this is posted on IG, you got to come back and you got to like, you got to subscribe, and you got to leave a comment, but you got to do the same thing over on YouTube. And that's at Jazzy, that's Jazzie, Conversations with Jazz. So if you would please subscribe here on Facebook and on YouTube and your favorite podcast platform, I greatly appreciate it. Remember, now is the time for a dope comeback. You can come back from anything with God, the right resources, knowing how to use those resources effectively, and the willingness to do the work. And as always, all goal diggers are welcome. That's GOAL diggers. I will see you next Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time right here for episode 110. Thank you so much, MJ Wright. Future District 2 seat on the Polk County Public School Board. Let's get them there. Let's vote them in. All right. You have a great night, MJ.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a good night.